Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Right, it is the Madrid Open, the Mutua Madrid Open 2022, the WTA tournament, and it's an absolutely jam-packed lineup. It really is. Before we get into it, please do remember to smash the like button, the big thumbs up button. It really does help the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for your support, and do subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. Again, really helps us out. It's free, quick and easy, doesn't cost you anything, and you can always unsubscribe later if I really annoy you. So let's get into it. So Iga Swiatek, of course, after winning 4 tournaments on the bounce, she is the Masters queen right now. Hasn't lost a single Masters 1000 match so far this year. She'll go into it a heavy favorite, no doubt. She has a qualifier in the first round, so I'm going to go through every first round tie. Also, then look at some potential second round ones and quarters, and then give my prediction for a winner as well. I've actually looked through it beforehand and done my little bracket as well before. So Iga Swiatek should get through the qualifier. I mean, whoever it is, doesn't really matter in my opinion. Kvitova versus Teichmann. Kvitova on the clay is an interesting proposition. I'm going to go with her, but I wouldn't be surprised if Teichmann comes through. I think Swiatek, though, Iga Swiatek will win that little section here, and then she'll probably, who's she going to face? So Konju, Siniakova. I'm going to go Siniakova. Then Rybakina to come through against a qualifier. Then Rybakina to win that. So Rybakina, Swiatek should get through that little section, okay? Then we've got Raducanu and Martin Kova. So Raducanu and Swiatek, they can potentially meet. I think it is in the quarterfinals or last 16. So very, very interesting. We'll see. That could be a repeat of course, the Stuttgart Open match. 6-4, 6-4 to Swiatek. But it was an exciting match and definitely some flashes of class from Emma Raducanu. And let's see how she gets on. But I would imagine she'll get through Martin Kova okay. And then Kostyuk versus Towson. I'm going to go with Kostyuk, although Towson's a really exciting youngster as well. It's battle of the young superstars, to be fair. And then they'll face potentially another superstar in Raducanu. So, really interesting little section there. I think Raducanu should come through either of them, but you just never know. And then Sloane Stephens, Kalinina. I don't think Stephens is incredibly comfortable on the clay. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think she prefers the hard court from what I know. Kalinina is in some interesting form, so I'm going to go with her as the wild card. Tomljanovic versus Muguruza. That's not an easy first round match for Muguruza, but she should get through that in her home country, and I expect her to get through that section. And then actually, I expect Muguruza to meet Raducanu. And then it's an interesting one. Who wins that? If Emma wins, then obviously she'll meet Swiatek most likely. Muguruza wins, she'll face Swiatek. So either way, it's going to be a cracking quarterfinal, no doubt, no matter who gets through that. But we'll see. You never know because Seeds just can fall left, right, and center. Didn't happen, to be fair, too much in the previous tournament at Stuttgart. It really didn't. We had Sabalenka versus Swiatek, but Badosa was in the semifinals as well. So, we'll see. Samsonova was the wild card, I guess. No one expected her to make the semis. Sakkari versus Madison Keys. That's a really good first round match. I think on the clay, though, Sakkari is too accomplished and she's just too comfortable. Madison Keys, if we're talking about a hard court, I think it's a real 50-50. I really do. But Sakkari should have enough. She'll be disappointed in her recent results last week. So I think she'll be very, very motivated to get through that. Then Fernandez versus Kasatkina, a very interesting, very, very interesting matchup there. Kasatkina is very, very, very talented, as is, of course, Leylah Fernandez. I'm going to go Fernandez. And then I think Fernandez versus Sakkari, it's a pretty hard one. I'm going to go Sakkari, though. I think Sakkari should have enough. Then we've got Osaka versus she's going to be facing a qualifier. So Osaka to come through that. And then Sribas Tormo versus Pavlyuchenkova. I'm going to go Pavlyuchenkova. Although playing at home as well, Sribas Tormo is pretty good on the clay. Pavlyuchenkova, the former, of course, French Open Roland Garros finalist last year. So I'm going to go with Pavlyuchenkova. And then Osaka versus Pavlyuchenkova is a tough one. I'm actually going to go Pavlyuchenkova. So I'm going to go with a Pavlyuchenkova versus Sakkari little matchup there. And Sakkari to get through that and make the quarters. Then Pegula versus Georgie. I'm going to go Georgie. I think Pegula, she might be able to do it. Georgie's so up and down, but I just think on the surface and familiarity, I'm just going to go with who I think is going to play better on the surface on the day. So that's who I'm going to go with, Camila Georgie. And then we've got Frovitova versus a qualifier. I'm going to go with Frovitova. We don't know who the qualifier is. And then I think Frovitova actually might beat Georgie. But I'm going to back Georgie anyway. But not very confident at all. Andreescu versus Risk. What's a difficult one? I'm going to go Andreescu, though. I'm going to go Andreescu. And then Pug versus Collins. Collins for me. Collins Andreescu is a fantastic second round match. I think Collins has been in too good a form to kind of look away from her. So I'm going to go Danielle Collins, Danielle Mal to come through that. And then potentially she's got a nice little section there, to be fair. She really does. She could potentially, I mean, her section, if I'm not mistaken, let's have a quick look out. So she in the quarters, so the quarters are here. Yeah, so no, the quarters would be potentially could be Collins versus Swiatek. So Raducanu or Muguruza would meet Swiatek in the round of 16. Danielle Collins has potentially maybe like a Fernandez, a Sakkari, and Osaka. That's a much easier section, you feel, for sure. So she'll be quite happy with that, Danielle Collins. Who knows what she can do on the clay? She's got a very big game, but I think it translates pretty well on the clay. I think it also hides her maybe lacking second serve as well. I think her second serve needs work, but on the clay, you can hide it away a little bit. Two qualifiers there, so no idea is going to come through that, of course. Pliskova versus one of them. Pliskova, I'm not really sold on her on clay, and I'm pretty sure she was on the end of a double bagel versus Barty last year, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, let's see how she gets on. But she did make a final, to be fair, in a clay court tournament last year. So I don't know. I don't know how she just is so up and down at times. Pliskova. Parizas Diaz versus Kirsty, or Kirsty, sorry, even Kirsty gets through that for me just because I never back against her in the first round or second round. Ostapenko versus Kirsty as well. Even though Ostapenko, of course, a former Roland Garros champion. Azarenka versus Golubic, I'm going to go Azarenka, although keep an eye on her because it'll be interesting to see what her mental state's like after giving up in two of her last matches and 2 losses. So Azarenka versus potentially Zidansek, and I think Zidansek will win that. Zidansek and Badosa played a quarterfinal, wasn't it, last year? And Zidansek played really well generally in the tournament, so I'm going to go with her. Samsonova plays a qualifier. That'll be good for her. She'll get through that, I think. And then Sabalenka and Anisimova is a fantastic matchup. I'm going to go Sabalenka because she's rediscovered some form given the past week. She might be a little bit tired, but I think she'll get through Anisimova. Samsonova might be a step too far. I think Samsonova might win that. She's been playing some inspired tennis, especially in the last week. If she plays at that level, it's going to be very hard for Sabalenka. Ons Jabeur versus Paolini. Jabeur for me, but you just don't know with someone like Paolini who's very used to the clay. But Jabeur looked pretty good last week as well, so I'm going to go with her. And then Elise Cornet to come through that. Jabeur to beat Elise Cornet. You would expect, but you just don't know. Zheng versus Muchova. I'm going to go with Zheng, actually. And then Bencic versus a qualifier. I'm going to go with Bencic. Kokogov versus a qualifier. Kokogov. Potentseva versus Rogers. Kokogov to win that All-American affair potentially in the second round. And then Simona Halep versus Zhang. We're going to go Halep. Badosa Halep in the second round. That could be a absolutely cracking. That would be a cracking match, to be perfectly honest with you. So, yeah, let's look out for that. I'd back Badosa, though. I'd back Badosa. So then potential quarterfinals, from what I can see, Badosa versus Ons Jabeur. That would be fantastic. We saw that last week. What a match that would be. Sabalenka versus Pliskova. Obviously, these are projected quarterfinals. given rankings and probably my a little bit of my predictions. And then we've got Collins versus Sakkari, Muguruza or Raducanu versus Swiatek. So some fantastic quarterfinals. And then for me, I actually have in my bracket Swiatek and Badosa. So the first and second season meeting in the final. Could Swiatek win 5 in a row? I would not be surprised. But I just think at some point she's going to have to lose, right? And I think maybe this is the tournament. She could lose earlier on, but I think just given her draw and just how strong she's been playing, I think she'll get through to the final. But I think Badosa, with the home crowd behind her, most likely, given she's Spanish, I think she might get it done. She might win the tournament. That's my prediction. Badosa to win. In terms of a dark horse, it's an interesting one. Ons Jabeur's my dark horse even, sorry. Now, I don't know exactly how and whether she is really, I guess, a dark horse. It's a bit of a weird one. I don't think she's particularly a dark horse because she's a top 10. But let's see. Clara Towson as well. Look out for her. I think she'll be pretty good. She could definitely cause trouble. She could even go in the first round, but she could also get to the quarters. That's how good I think she is. So let's see how it gets on. But look, it's going to be a really, really, really good tournament. Obviously, the courts are going to be, probably not as quick as the Porsche indoor tournament, but still it's a relatively faster clay court from what I know. So that should favor some of the players who, they like clay, but maybe they like a slower hard court as well. The movement, of course, is different. So we'll see how people are sliding and moving on the clay. But most players tend to be okay on that, to be fair, especially because the majority of the players who are not European are a little bit older, and yes, they might have grown up on hard courts, but they've kind of learned to slide on the clay. So we'll see. But Badosa is my pick. Let's see how it goes. Very much looking forward to it. We will try and do, if not, but hopefully we'll try and do some watch-alongs for this and then also do some post-match reviews as well. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and I'll see you on the next video. Of course, do check us out on all podcast platforms as well. If you want to listen to the audio version, leave a review, leave a rating, and of course, like this video and subscribe. Thank you, guys. See you.